You're watching the Motorola Moto G9 Disassembly. First, remove the SIM tray. Next, what's interesting is there's a seam or line that goes around the back to make it seem like there's a back plate, but there actually isn't. So the way the seam is all the way around the back, it makes you think it's a back plate that needs to be heated up and pried off. However, if you actually try to get a tool or something in between, you can't because it's one piece. It's possible that it was two pieces, this was one piece and the side frame was one piece. But later on in the process, they mold these two together or put a gloss layer that goes over both of these and seals the separation so you don't actually pry it off from here. What you need to do instead is get a plastic pry tool and get it in between the back housing and the mid frame of the phone, or in this case, this blue and the black. And then you just work your way around and pop the catches. Now once you popped all the catches, before you pull the back housing off, you need to apply some heat in this area over here so you can loosen up the adhesive that's around the fingerprint reader over here, as well as around the camera lens over here. Both have adhesive there. Then you're going to press it on the fingerprint reader so you can separate that from the back housing. Once the fingerprint reader is free from the back housing, you can lift up and remove. So here's the back housing. It is plastic. So inside the back housing, you have your NFC antenna over here. Here's the two contacts for it. You also have some antenna contacts over here. There's some graphite film on the top portion and a small portion over here on the bottom lower corner. Now on the top right corner, we have some film we need to peel off. We're just covering some screws. Now you have 16 Phillips screws you need to remove. Once the screws are removed, you have two strips of film, one over here and one over here you have to peel back. So then you can use your plastic pry tool and lift the plastic cover up and remove it. Here's a better look at that. And one thing to note, your camera lens cover over here is held on with adhesive. So if you ever crack or break it, you don't need to disassemble the phone. All you'd have to do is apply heat and then get a thin tool or razor to get in between the glass and the border of the assembly over here, and you just pry it off, and then you get your new one and reapply it on. Here's a look at the back side. Now we're going to peel off this graphite film over here. Now we have access to disconnecting the battery cable. Just have to pop it up. Once the battery cable is disconnected, we can disconnect the rest of the cables. We're going to remove the fingerprint reader, just pop it off. Disconnect these cables. You have one flex cable over here that has a latch and a lock. You just lift up this black latch and that unlocks it. You have one wire cable over here, just pop it up and off. We have some copper tape over here over the earpiece speaker, which we need to peel off so we can remove the front facing camera. We have some over here on the main board. Now we can pop off the connector over here. And remove the camera. There are two Phillips screws holding the main board down. One over here in this corner and one over here. Now I need to get this flex cable and slide it out. At this point we can lift up and remove the main board. Here's a better look at your main board. You have your headphone jack over here. There's a rubber gasket around it. You have a secondary mic located over here. Your LED flash is right here for your cameras. And if you need to disconnect the cameras, all you have to do is just pop them off. Like that. Here's the other side. You have an LED notification light right here. Your proximity sensor is right here. Your SIM reader and memory card reader is located here. The other camera connector is right here. You could just pop it off if you need. You have some graphite film over here on the back. Removing the shield on the back reveals 2 thermal pads over here, which sit on top of the chips. The Qualcomm one is located right here. You also have 2 more small thermal pads over here, sitting on top of some of the chips. Now on the bottom of the phone, where the speaker assembly is, you have more film you have to peel off. Now I can lift up and remove the speaker assembly. Here's a better look at that. And here's your speaker itself. You have 1 flex cable here you have to disconnect. Just pop it up. You also have 1 wire cable over here you have to pop off. Now there's also adhesive underneath the charger port board holding it down, so you're going to have to apply some heat and you're going to have to gently pry it off. Here's a better look at your charger port board. You have your main microphone located right here. Here's your charger port with a rubber gasket around it. Here's the other side, and you can see some of the adhesive over here. And now onto the battery, and with that, some good news. We finally see Motorola using some pull tabs. They're clear, so you can't really see them too well, but once I peel it off, you can see there's some around the battery. There's 1 located here, 1 here, and 1 along this edge over here. Basically, these will help you pull the battery off, but you're still going to have to apply some heat to loosen up the adhesive underneath. So you'd use a hairdryer or a heat gun to heat up the front of the phone where the screen is. So the adhesive underneath the battery loosens up, and then you're going to use these pull tabs to help you pull the battery off. That makes it so much easier to pry these batteries off because it helps you prevent warping or damaging the battery or piercing it in any way. So here's a better look at the battery. Here's the other side. Back to the mid frame. As you can see, the compartment where the battery sits in. This is beautiful. Makes it so much easier to remove your battery and replace it with a new one, because all you would do with the new one is just seat it back into place. And then you would fold over this plastic pull tabs, and then you'd be set for the future if you ever have to replace the battery again. So you don't have to peel off all this adhesive and apply some new adhesive or anything like that. Next, a couple of things I want to point out. There's a thermal pad over here to transfer heat from the main board to the mid frame. There's also one over here on the bottom for the speaker assembly. I don't usually see thermal pads on the speaker assembly, but I have seen graphite foam before. You have your vibrator motor located over here in the corner. Your earpiece speaker is here on top. Your flex cable connecting your main board to your subboard is right here. And your screen cable is right here, and it's routed through the slit in the mid frame. So if you ever needed to replace your screen, you'd have to disassemble your phone so you could disconnect the cable for your screen from your motherboard. You'd have to remove your battery so you can have access to the flex cable over here for your screen. And then you'd heat the front up, pry your screen off the mid frame. You'd get your new screen, run your cable back through the mid slit over here in the mid frame and reapply it to the front and just reassemble your phone. You also have a flex cable over here for your buttons. And there's film over here holding them down, so you just have to peel this film off. And you'll be able to remove the clickers for your buttons. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and put the phone back together. Once all your screws are back in place, make sure your fingerprint reader is seated in its place over here, and then go ahead and reapply your back cover. And flip over your phone, power it on, and you're done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and click on the notification bell so you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.